Hello and welcome to episode 39 of the Biblliophile series. In this series, we go through interesting articles that come up all across the world. This week, we are looking at an article written by Ezra Klein in New York Times. And this is about happy 20th anniversary Gmail. I'm sorry, I'm reading it. Then, there is no end to of theories why the internet feels so crummy these days. Crummy is something that induces dislike. The New Yorker blames the shift to algorithmic feeds. Wired blames a cycle in which companies cease serving their users and begin monetizing them. The MIT Technology Review blames ad-based business models. The Verge blames search engines. I agree with all these arguments. So, four different arguments have been presented. One by the New Yorker, second by another magazine named Wired, the MIT Technology Review, and The Verge, another magazine. And the author is agreeing with all these arguments. But here's another one. Our digital lives have become one shame closet after another. What is a shame closet? Perhaps that needs more description. We continue reading. A shame closet is that spot in your home where you cram the stuff that has nowhere else to go. It doesn't have to be a closet. It can be a garage, or a room, or a chest of drawers, or all of them at once. Basically, if you have a space in your house where you're cramming all the unwanted stuff, that is your shame closet. Whatever the space, it is defined by absence of choices about what goes into it. There are things you need in there. There are things you will never need in there. But as the shame closet grows, the task of excavation or organization becomes too daunting to contemplate. Basically, you've thrown in so many things there. You've put in so many things there that bringing them out as and when they're required, that becomes progressively more difficult. The shame closet era of the internet had a beginning. It was 20 years ago that Google unveiled Gmail. If you were not an internet user back then, it's hard to describe the astonishment that greeted Google's announcement. Inboxes routinely topped out at 15 megabytes. 15 MB was the limit of email inboxes. Google was offering a free gigabyte, dozens and dozens of time more. Everyone wanted it, but you had to be invited. That was an invitation-based model. You had to be invited to use Gmail. Only then did you get an account. Very similar to what we had at the beginning for OnePlus phone models. So you could not buy OnePlus right off the internet or off an app. You had to be given an invite in order to buy that OnePlus phone model. I remember jockeying for one of those early invites. I remember the thrill of finding it. I felt lucky. I felt chosen. Wonderful marketing management. A few months ago, I euthanized that Gmail account. I stopped using it. I ended that Gmail account. I have more than 1 million unread messages in my inbox. Most of what's there is junk, but not all of it. This is perhaps how this email ID is similar to a shame closet. It has a lot of emails, and a lot of it is useless emails, but some of them are not. Not all of it is junk. I was missing too much that I needed to see. Search could not save me. I didn't know what I was looking for. Google's algorithms had begun failing me. What they thought was a priority and what I thought was a priority diverged. What was important to me and what was important to Google's algorithm, they were different. That is where the dissonance in the functionality provided by Gmail versus what I wanted from my email were separated. I set up an autoresponder telling anyone and everyone who emailed me that the address was great. Okay. Behind Gmail was an astonishing technological triumph. The cost of storage was collapsing. In 1985, a gigabyte of hard drive memory cost around $75,000. $75,000. By 1995, it was around $750. So there is almost 1%. It has come down to 1% from the initial cost in 10 years' time. From 2004, the year Gmail began, it was a few dollars. It fell down even more after some 9 years. Today, it's less than a penny. Now now Gmail offers 15 gigabytes free. What a marvel. What a mess. It is a marvel because the amount that is available for us to store, the storage space available has increased tremendously. But it is also a mess because perhaps it is in reference to the earlier point of it has turned into a shame closet where a lot of things go, and then sorting and excavating and organizing those things has become a challenge. Gmail's promise, vast storage mediated by powerful search tools, became the promise of virtually everything online. According to iCloud, I have more than 23,000 photos and almost 2,000 videos resting somewhere on Apple's servers. I have tens of thousands of songs liked somewhere in Spotify. How much is jotted down in my notes app? How many conversations do I have stored in messages? In WhatsApp, in Signal. Signal is another messaging app that is very popular in US. It is very much like WhatsApp, that it is encrypted and it is usually used by contacts in Twitter and Instagram and Facebook DMs. So basically, he's referring to I have so many messages, so much data present in all these social networking websites. There is so much I loved in those archives. There is so much I could delight in rediscovering, but I can't find what matters in the morass. I've given up on trying. There is so much content there that trying to identify what works for me or what is wonderful, I have given up on even trying to identify that. What began with our files soon became our friends and family. The social networks made it easy for anyone we've ever met and plenty of people we've never met to friend and followers. We could communicate with them all at once without communing with them individually at all. Without necessarily spending time with anyone individually, we could talk to them by way of these social networking websites. Or so we were told. The idea that we could have so much community with so little effort was an illusion. We were digitally connected to more people than ever and terribly lonely nevertheless. Closeness requires time, and time has not fallen in cost or risen in quantity. It's one of the most popular ideas in business world. You have ways of increasing every resource except the time that is available to you in a day. And therefore, for CEOs or high-level officials, it is always stated the most valuable resource available to them is their time, because you can't increase the quantity of time available. You can increase the capital invested, you can increase the connections that you have, the delivery networks that you have, but you can never increase the number of hours in a day. Okay. The digital giants profit of my passivity, my laziness. I now pay Apple and Google a monthly fee for more storage. It would take too long to delete everything necessary to remain beneath their limits. Various algorithms attempt to do for me what I no longer do for myself. They present me with pictures from my past and offer to sell me books of my own memories. This is perhaps popular for somebody. If you use Google, if you use an Android phone, so you would receive notification of this day 4 years ago, on this day 8 years ago, memories, this, that. Facebook has this feature, and Google Photos has this feature that I'm aware of. These are the two platforms I get notification from. Perhaps other platforms also have it. I only made an Instagram account last year. I don't have a Snapchat account. I'm not active on Twitter for them to remind me of anything. So maybe the other platforms are also doing similar stuff, but these are the two that I'm aware of and perhaps can understand what the author is trying to say. They certainly have songs that are like the ones I've loved before, but lost long ago. Basically, songs that I listened to sometime in the past and I like, but they often be similar songs to that. And this is perhaps Spotify. I don't have a Spotify account, so I wouldn't know. My feed is stuffed with recommended content from influencers and advertisers who mean nothing to me. Basically, I have a lot of junk available in all these platforms, in all these modes of communication. I have a lot of junk available that has no emotional connectivity. A few months ago, I vowed to take back control of my digital life. I began with my email. I subscribed to Hey, an email service that takes a very different view of how email should work. Gmail and virtually all of its competitors assume anyone should be able to email you, and then you should store and sort and search and categorize those messages. Hey assumes that only the people you want email from should be able to email you. So the way Hay's offering is different from usual email offerings is, in usual email offerings, anyone who has your email ID, that person should be able to email you, and that mail should be saved and stored. Whereas Hey only allows people that you have approved to email you. You will not get it from any random person. The first time anyone sends you a message, it goes into what's called the screener, and you have to whitelist or blackball the sender. Basically, you approve or ban the sender. If you blackball the sender, that's it. You never see email from that address again. It also has another feature I love, a clean screen for replying to emails. So you can think and compose without the visual clutter common to so many other services. Basically, everything is as in a clean screen. It is one full page. Perhaps you can link it to the Gmail account that you have. If you write compose or if you write reply, there is a lot of other stuff still available on this way, which is perhaps challenging for the author because it takes attention away from the primary task that he's trying to do, which is to reply to the email. Okay. He forces me to make choices rather than encourage me to avoid them. This is another way he is different than the other usual email service providers. I constantly have to ask whether I want email from this or that sender, and if so, where it should go. Which is not to say Hey is perfect or even that it fully solves the problem I'm describing. Its search is far inferior to Google's. It's too hard to rediscover mail that I viewed but took no action on. There is no way of sorting different kinds of email that come from the same address. It has trouble threading long conversations with many participants. I miss the easy integration with all the other Google products I need to use. So the author is saying A is providing him with an advantage of making active choices instead of avoiding them. Yet that does not mean A is solving all problems. There are still challenges with A. Yet the overall tone, given the heading of the passage and whatever has been mentioned so far, he is advocating, or at least he's advocating for himself, the usage of A is solving a problem that he is facing. And therefore, despite its challenges, A is good for him. But for me, now the friction is what I'm looking for. I'm grateful, genuinely, for what Google and Apple and others did to make digital life easy over the past 2 decades. But too much ease carries a cost. I was lulled into the belief that I didn't have to make decisions. Now my digital life is a series of monuments to the cost of combining maximal storage with minimal intention. Because of Google and Apple and the other websites and places where he has an account, his digital life is a series of monuments to the cost of combining, as in he has a lot of stuff stored away. He has a lot of stuff, huge behemoths of data points stored away. And he's trying, because we were trying to maximize the storage with minimal intervention from the party receiving those messages. Okay. I have thousands of photos of my children, but few that I've set aside to revisit. I have records of virtually every text I've sent since I was in college, but no idea how to find the ones that meant something. And this is also in reference to the earlier part where it was saying it becomes difficult to organize and categorize and sort out things that are actually important to us. So while storage is there, the search functionality is no longer working. I've spent years blasting my thoughts to millions of people on X, the new name for Twitter, and Facebook, Even as I fell behind on correspondence with dear friends, I have stored everything and saved nothing. And this is very similar to a line. A fool knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. That is a similar line being talked of here. We have stored everything, but we have saved nothing. Okay. I do not blame I do not blame anyone but myself for this. This is not something the corporations did to me. This is something I did to myself. But I'm looking now for software that insists I make choices rather than whispers that none are needed. Something that needs my active engagement. I don't want my digital life to be one shame closet after another. A new metaphor has taken hold for me. I want it to be a garden I tend, snipping back the weeds and nourishing the plants. Actively involved in deciding what should be there, what shouldn't be there, taking care of stuff that is present in my garden. That is what I want from my digital life, is what the author is saying. And switching off his Gmail account, at least ending it, and moving on to Hey is a step in that direction. That is what is being stated. If you've ever used your email account, you would perhaps relate to what the author is saying. The email account that I have has around 60,000 unread emails, my own email account. And whenever there is something significant that I need an email out for an email communication work, most likely I would rather go ahead and create a new email account instead of using this one, because finding stuff here is very difficult. And this way seems like a decent enough option. Of course, I will try it. If you have the capacity and willingness to do so, go ahead, try it. It would be fun. Okay. Statistical analysis of this article. There are 1,107 words. The number of sentences are 100. This is a very, very simple article in terms of understanding. Someone in 6th to 7th grade should be able to understand this article. The reading score is 67.97, easily understood by 13 to 15-year-olds. And the article in itself is very simple. The idea also is fairly simple, especially for somebody who has a digital life at all. That will be all for this week's episode or this episode. See you again next time. Okay.